Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to a part, and we've been actually just I think the element just last comment was talking about opportunities for new ways of working, services, and that's exactly what Brian, well, invite to screen now, is going to talk about, is about adding the ideal fleet to have the best RV at the end. Because of course you can, if you add the right vehicles in a fleet, you can also optimize the RVs. I think Brian is coming in right now. Here he is. Hello, Brian.
Hi.
How are you?
I am all fine, thank you. Just
I see on the screen a fantastic picture. That's the Innovation Award last year. So you're not going to try and do it again this year, or yes?
Well, we have some interesting things coming, so let's see what will happen.
Okay, all yours, Brian.
Sorry, I just need to take you away.
No problem.
So
it'll be on there.
Am I sharing my screen now, right? So
yes, perfectly fine.
I had too many screens up at the same time here. So, okay. Well, as you mentioned, then I will today talk about adding the ideal fleet to maximize residual values, and something we've been working on. But I added to one thing here, using AI and data, because this is what I will be presenting. And maybe some of you have seen that we announced something yesterday, and this is part of what I'm allowed to talk about today. So I'll go on here. So just make sure that this works. So first of all, my name is Brian Madsen, for you who doesn't know me, and I'm Director International for a company called Cars to Click. And what we are saying here is that AI, we're working a lot with AI and data, and we are saying AI will not replace people, but people using AI will replace the people not using AI. So that's the idea for the discussion today. And just about Cars to Click very quickly, we started the company in February 2019, and we are focusing on cross-border trading. And we wanted to develop something new. We wanted a new AI data solutions to improve our B2B business. And we wanted to develop the most advanced data solutions for us and for our customers to be able to outperform the market and competitors. And we have done so. And as you know, in 2020, we won the Fleet Euro Awards. 2021, we didn't. We came close, one or second or third, I don't know, one of the finalists. 2022, we won again. And we are also being recognized by a little company called Microsoft as the best practice of data processing in the world, because we reduced our data processing from 18 hours to 20 minutes. And that's quite impressive what the guys have done there. Today in 2023, we are 4 years old, and we're present in 20 countries and expanding globally. This year, we are going to United States now. We are already planning, starting that process. And as you know, as of yesterday, then we have implemented some asset management ecosystems for Polestar and Hertz, and that came out yesterday. So we are quite happy with what is happening, and we are not in the situations like many other companies where we are struggling. And contrary, we are struggling finding enough people. That's the only thing. And today the company exists of Cars to Click, the B2B trading, Cars to View, which is AI and data, Cars to Transport, which is of course transportation and logistics, and Cars to Exchange, which is a white label solution. So we are buying cars on behalf of the OEMs online from consumers. Okay, let me go into what I wanted to talk about. So the traditional way of working with a life cycle of a vehicle in fleet is of course not going to change that much, but we have an idea and something that we are implementing together with our customers that I'm going to go through right now. So, of course, the first thing is that when you buy something, you need to analyze what to buy and what you need, and so on, and vehicle details, and what's the lowest TCO you will have, or cost, or whatever you call it, TCO on the vehicle before you acquire that vehicle. But there are some elements to this that can change in the way of working. And of course, you have D-fleet, in-fleet, and you have running fleet, and you have D-fleet, and you have sales and logistics. So what we think is that with geo-pricing, you can actually change things quite a lot, because if you have a vehicle that is supposed to be used in France, it might not be the right place to defleet that vehicle. And this is what I'm going to talk about going forward. So life cycle is all about understanding the market data, geo sales, and the geo pricing opportunities you have here. So how are we doing? So just so you understand the way we collect and calculate these things that we are using for this. So we are scanning all websites in right now in Europe, but also in other regions of the world now. And this data is then produced inside our AI Maria data factory. But we are also, this is how we started, but we are also now importing and merging DMS data from our customers to make our data even more accurate in the pricing and estimations that we can do. So this is everything that we do. So every day we are scanning all websites, and that means there's several websites for each country. And of course, that adds a lot of complexity to this, which is why we are using AI and not people or normal database. So what happens is that all this data arrives every day, and sometimes several times a day, depending on the websites that we are scanning. And then, of course, this data needs cleaning and it needs an update. There's a lot of car data that comes from the websites that are wrong, or there's a missing data and different data sources that are not what we need at the end. So AI will normalize all this data so we can compare it country by country, and it will standardize this also so we can use it and compare it going forward into preparing our market data. And this is a process that normally, as was mentioned, took us 18 hours per day to do. Right now, it's so powerful that we are doing this with millions and millions of records in 20 minutes. And I get more and more amazed by the power of AI in what we're doing. So geo-pricing, just to explain how that is done, because we, of course, all the data that we receive is received by, really including VAT, is including taxes in each country, like in Denmark and France and Germany and so on. It's all different values. So the AI will then look at all these values and deduct the VAT and also deduct the taxes, the tax that is added to the car. By that, we have then a B2B price that can be compared around the Europe from country to country. So when the AI have then identified the country of origin, so the car you want to analyze is located in France, of course there's a higher transportation cost to Sweden than to Germany, so that will take into account, of course, also the damages and the margins to the buyers. And that gives then a geo price, which is a net B2B sales price, so we can really compare what price can I get for these vehicles when I sell it in the different countries. Now, this is something I've been talking about before. So what is also interesting is that when you're looking at acquisition, you need to make sure you don't make the mistake of buying something that is very good in Spain and then you cannot sell it in other countries. So what we do already in acquisition mode, that means the first thing that happens before you buy something is that you will actually get recommendations about equipment that is needed on that specific vehicle in order for it to be able to be sold for the highest price in Europe. Now, this is something that we all know a little bit, but in this case, it's driven by AI. And instead of taking hours and people having ideas about it, this takes milliseconds and is presented to you right in front of you when you make those decisions about what you want to buy. So now we were just talking about residual values and forecasting before, and I asked the question if AI will change this and come up with new models. And what we're working on right now, and we have a model that is very interesting and it works well, but we still have a lot of work to do with this, is that the AI can actually do a lot better forecasting than we can. The AI can handle a lot more information and use that and compare this and forecast and predict things than we are capable of doing. We have been doing so, making forecasts and predicting for some of our customers. And then we compare this later, 6 or 12 months later, to see what was actually the outcome. And it's very, very accurate. So I'm super excited about what's going to happen on this part here. And this, of course, very important, because when it comes to making a decision about buying something, forecasting is, of course, a very important part in what we're doing there to calculate the TCO. Now, I'll move forward to something that is part of the acquisition and the fleet strategy. And what we see is that normally we have a fleet period, expected use of 12 months or 24 or 36 or whatever we have. And this is something that then is static for most people. It's like we have bought this car for a company car or whatever, but maybe something changes, and we're talking about shortage of supply, but just recently, the last few weeks, we are seeing that is changing. So maybe I'm saying something different from what was said by the expert panel before, but we are actually seeing that there's supply coming that we did not expect into the market. But never mind, let's look at the model instead. The idea for us is that you have an expected use of a car, and suddenly someone gives you an opportunity to buy a new car, but you were planning on doing this 24 months later. But in fact, you could actually buy a similar car or a replacement car right now and have the same TCO as you had on the other one. Now, if you then have a book value of 15,000 and you can sell this one in another country, like instead of selling it in France, you can sell it in Germany or Denmark and make more money on it, you can actually have a profit of 1,000 euros on this vehicle. Now, this is something that most fleet managers don't look at. But in our world, if you look about short cycling here, then if you defleet often, then you could actually increase the profitability. So imagine that you have 1,000 cars that you defleet and you make 1,000 euros, we're talking about 1 million euros additional profit to your P&L. So we are talking about two strategies in the presentation here. The one is that you need to buy the right vehicles with the right equipment, so you can see where you can sell this vehicle and where, so you get the opportunity to not sell it in the country where you are, not sell it in Portugal or Spain if you have the car there, but actually have an opportunity to move that Seat Arona from Spain to Denmark or to Sweden because you have the right equipment, which is acquired there because they have a higher price as well. So there's a huge opportunity in using AI to tell you what to buy, what not to buy, and even also monitor your fleet and evaluate the offers that is possible for replacement and doing short cycle fleet planning. So all of this is something that we are building now into some asset management solutions. For OEMs, we're building everything that they need around the residual value management to make sure that the vehicles that they have coming back ends up in the market where they also have the best value for the OEM in terms of demand and higher residual values and so on coming out of what they do in terms of planning and where they want to place those vehicles. So we have vehicles coming back in Germany, and we don't want all those vehicles in Germany. We want some of them to go into other markets to make sure that the balance is perfect. So they get access to all the market data, and they can see everything that goes on in real time. They can benchmark against competitors and so on and so on. And the same if you go into rental. This is where acquisition model is very, very important, because you need to make sure that you have the right vehicles, of course, for your customers that actually want to drive those vehicles, but also that you have the right vehicles when you want to dispose of those vehicles again in defleet. And again, even to the point where the AI will recommend which month to defleet which vehicles. So we're talking about an acquisition model where you plan what you do when you buy the vehicles, and that is then cascaded into when you want to defleet those vehicles, and the AI will all the time keep track on what is coming. And of course, if things change in the market that the AI didn't predict when we were buying the cars, give you a heads up midterm after 6 months or 12 months if something suddenly changes. We know that sometimes the governments can come up with things quite fast. So these solutions have already been built, and you already know that the two I'm presenting here are live, and we have already published that in two of our press releases. But we are working with a lot more, and today I wanted to present this because I think what we will see going forward is a lot of changes in the way OEMs, rental leasing companies, and even fleet companies like bigger companies with a normal fleet for use for their employees will start using these tools and have AI help them speeding up and become more accurate in their decision making. So that was all for me, and I think that we have a very, very exciting future ahead of us, and thank you for this. And it's not just about maximizing residual value, but actually maximizing profitability